Hello, Newport Classical. My name is Karen Slack, and I am thrilled in just a few short weeks to bring you African Queens. Kevin and I have been touring this recital around the country for several months now, and I think we are primed and ready to give you a big show. Honestly, very scary. Every time you do a new piece, a new work, a new production, if you're singing opera, it is very scary, but also very, very rewarding. I mean, this music was written specifically for this recital, for my voice, for Kevin's amazing pianistic skills, and so it is always a big it always is a big moment to birth a new piece. African Queens was something that I created over 2 years. Was born out of frustration of wanting to sing stories about women who had done extraordinary things, who were not victims, who were not just mothers or wives or girlfriends to a male character. So African Queens is very, very special to my heart because it is a triumph. It is a tribute, a celebration of Black women, of African queens who had done extraordinary things. So while very scary, also extremely rewarding. All right, next question. The preparation part for me was going down to Houston to work with Kevin, flying down to Houston to coach with him before our premiere performance. I have to say that was one of my favorite parts because we were both in the trenches together, learning this music, trying to shape this music for the first time, really lifting the Black notes off the white page is what I say. And it was it was probably my favorite part because we were discovering these voices together. My favorite part of performing is always the reaction of the audience, because you just never know. You know, these pieces are brand new to the world. They are not even a year old, honestly, and it's not like singing 100-year-old song cycle, you know, where everyone knows all the breaths and all the text and all of the things. So we are still discovering this with our audience. And so I have to say, the audiences have been incredible for Queens. You just never know. You never know with new works, but each and every audience has received this music and this art so beautifully. So I am just so excited to bring this to Newport. I think we're in a time where we have moved backward from all of the movements and all of the promises and all of the things that we have acquired over the last 5 years, I have to say, through pandemic, through Black Lives Matter movement, through Me Too in some ways. And I think it is just extremely important to push the narrative of strong storytelling, strong stories that resonate with people, that inspire people, that move people, and also that make people go to the Googler, as they say, and discover new voices. We need new stories and new voices in the canon, and not necessarily these women are, many of them, stories are hundreds of years old. So this is not a new story, but new, of course, to our modern times, because these are not women who are technically, their stories aren't spoken about. Their stories aren't even made into film. You know, everyone knows the African queen Cleopatra, but very few people know Amani Renas, Amina, Queen Nani of the Maroons. You know, those stories are just not told, unfortunately. But today and from here on out, people will know them through this song recital. Inspired, and also a little frustrated that they don't know the stories of these women. And I want them to go again to the Google, or pick up a book where the subject matter is African queens, or the subject matter is women who had done, you know, who had led warrior women, and women who have led battles. And, you know, that's what I want people to walk away with. Like, why don't I know this? woman's story? What other stories are out there that I don't know about? You know, what would I like to support in the next new work or the next new opera? You know, I will say that through the tour of African Queens, I will say many people have been excited to know more and asking lots of questions about how I came up with this concept. You know, I do a lot of new work in opera. I've created several roles in world premiere opera productions, and most of them are not about the women. They're always about the men and in support of the man's narrative. And so I figured that if I wanted to speak about the things that I wanted to speak about, I had to create it myself. I sort of mentioned her name already. I have to say, my dear friend, Damien Jeter, composer, brilliant, bass baritone. And I knew he was going to pick this queen when I submitted the list of queens that I would like the composers to consider. Amani Reyes was on the list, and I knew Damien Jeter was going to pick Amani Reyes. Damien has composed some of the most beautiful operas in the 21st century canon. He just premiered Loving versus Virginia, which is the big Supreme Court case that made interracial marriage legal. And Damien has always, he's just an extraordinary storyteller, and I knew that he was going to pick Amani Reyes. Amani Reyes was the one-eyed queen of Kush. She was a Nubian queen who had defeated Caesar's army. She lost her eye in battle, so they call her the one-eyed queen. And in this particular song, she speaks about cutting off the head of the statue of Caesar and burying it under the door to her temple. And she's speaking to her daughter, who wants to go and, you know, into battle. And she stops her. "No, daughter, no. Do not take up my sword. Do not strap on my shield. Have patience." And it ends the song recital because it is such a strong statement and a strong warrior song. And so she always is the first queen that comes to my mind because she inspires me. She is strong and fierce and beautiful and sensitive, just like I see myself. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you all in Newport. I cannot tell you how thrilled I am. We have been on a bit of a hiatus, of course, doing other performances, Kevin and I, and in our own life outside of recitaling. But so you all will get the seasoned, fresh summer version of African Queens. I cannot tell you. I am so thrilled to see you all very, very soon. Thank you. Bye.